Obama's goal was, and to a certain extent remains, the transformation of the United States into a communist state. His goals at the moment, at least, are laying in ruins beneath the sheer force of Donald Trump. What many folks missed in their analysis of Obama is this. Regardless of his ties to Islam, of which there are many, he was and is first and foremost not a Muslim. He's a Marxist. Yes, he embraced Islam in a fashion, but only as a means to an end. He has much in common with the New York City mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani, a former rapper playing up his Muslim background as a thin veneer to cover his actual Marxist beliefs.
Change will not come if we wait for some other person or if we wait for some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek.
Obama's goal was, and to a certain extent remains, the transformation of the United States into a communist state. His goals at the moment, at least, are laying in ruins beneath the sheer force of Donald Trump. What many don't know is that while he was in office, Obama littered the U.S. bureaucracy with like-minded traitors to America, setting the stage with those appointments and those hirings to clear the path for a final nail in the coffin that would be pounded in by Hillary. For example, he replaced the heads of all 17 intelligence agencies with fellow traitors who would come in handy when the Russia narrative was put into play, which Hillary pointed to as neutral observers condemning Trump in the 2016 campaign. Nothing neutral about these guys. At first, the Russian scheme was, seen pretty much as a backstop, so as you call it, to prevent Trump from beating Hillary. Team Obama thought that would be enough to cast enough doubt in a number of people's minds to prevent sufficient numbers of them from voting for him.
President Obama will go down as perhaps the worst president in the history of the United States! Exclamation point at real Donald Trump. Well, at real Donald Trump, at least I will go down as a president.
Obviously, his mic drop moment, a little premature there, Barack. After getting over the shock of Trump winning, Team Obama huddled and plotted to undermine Trump's term by doubling down on the Russiagate BS, which they did with reckless abandon, of course. But skipping the historical details, the larger question is why? Why couldn't Obama just go peacefully into retirement like past presidents? Why did he purchase a home in D.C. just minutes from the White House? And just as importantly, why did he give Iran almost $2 billion in cash flown out of the U.S. on secret military transports under the darkness of night? And once brain-dead Biden was sworn in, he reversed Trump's sanctions against Iran, signed that new crazy deal again, and then fashioned yet another money drop to Tehran. Biden was just the puppet, though. Remember that. He was just the puppet controlled by Obama, essentially Obama's third term, auto pen and all. It's not that Obama is specifically some agent for Islam. A destabilized Middle East is a helpful tool for capitalizing on unrest here at home. Like any communist, Obama sees Western civilization as the enemy because Western civilization, which was built by the Catholic Church, speaks to the reality that human rights, they come from God, not the state. That's the antithesis of communism.
Where we once were, we are no longer a Christian nation, at least not just. We are also a Jewish nation, a Muslim nation, and a Buddhist nation, and a Hindu nation, and a nation of non-believers.
So when Western civilization needs to be undermined at every opportunity, including a ministry of truth governing social media, by the way, something, if you remember, they tried that and failed thanks to Elon and his Twitter purchase.
Part of what we're going to have to do is to start experimenting with new forms of journalism, and how do we use social media in ways that reaffirm facts, separate facts from opinion. We want diversity of opinion. We don't want diversity of fact. By the way, it will require some government, I believe, some government regulatory constraints around some of these business models in a way that's consistent with the First Amendment, but that also says, look, there is a difference between these platforms letting all voices be heard versus a business model that elevates the most hateful voices or the most polarizing voices or the most dangerous in the sense of inciting violence voices. And that I think is going to be a big challenge for all of us that we're going to have to undertake.
It's a funny thing, him talking about violence. See the LA riots as a starter pack. Violence almost always comes from the left. His agenda has been pulverized by Trump and MAGA, yet Obama keeps on plugging the idea of censoring speech. He even seems at a loss for words, as we saw right there, or even a clear idea without giving away his entire plan, his desire. Obama may finally be washed up and thrown away, the man, but those ideas of his of overturning America, they're very much alive and doing well. Vigilance is the key word here. While the swamp establishment is admittedly in tatters owing to Trump, it hasn't gone away by any means. It's trying to rebuild itself, and to that end, Obama is viewed as really no longer necessary. The man doesn't matter anymore, but the ideas, they do. Coming to you from Houston, Texas, I'm Gary Michael Voris. God love you.